Welcome back to the Brewers Lab. I'm your host Caleb. This is your host Devin, and today we are talking about the cards from Lorwyn that are going to go in the 99. We're going to talk about a ton of cards today, just the ones that we see value in actually going in your current EDH deck. So yeah, we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, and a lot of these cards are kind of focusing on those specific creature types, either focusing on choosing a creature type or focusing on one of the five, or I guess there's a lot more than them in Lorwyn specifically. Like you got giants, you got Kithkin, you got fairies, all sorts of ones. So there's a lot of cool things. And we're going to dive right into the black cards first. We're going to start off with probably the most popular card of the set, or maybe one of the most popular cards. It's kind of debatable, but Bitter Blossom, or I guess Bitter Bloom Bearer, is basically just a Bitter Blossom that you could flash in. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you'll make a 1/1 blue, black, and fairy creature token with flying. That's simple enough. We already know how popular Bitter Blossom is. This is just another redundant effect on a body.
Exactly. It's going to be good for your heuristic style decks, your decks that want those tokens to
Mm.
sacrifice, and then all of your fairy kindred decks as well. So I like the fact that it has flash because fairies have gotten the kind of archetype of you casting spells in your opponent's turn. So this is a lot more thematic than the Bitter Blossom we're used to.
Yeah, definitely that like draw ghost style, like where you're playing control with fairies, and yeah, you could just wait. All right, I'll just flash this in, and then you go at the beginning of your upkeep, you make that token automatically. Obviously, just like Bitter Blossom, you are going to be losing life, but in a go wide strategy, this is just going to be really good.
I agree. My favorite mono black card from this set is Moon Shadow. It's a 1 CMC creature elemental that I might or might not want to do things with. Anyway, it says this creature enters with 6 negative counters on it, and whenever one or more permanent cards are put into the graveyard from anywhere while this creature has a negative counter on it, remove a negative counter from this creature. Now, aside from this card looking amazing, I'm going to instantly put this in Tayam. You get a 6 counters, Tayam puts another counter on it, and then you get a massive 7 body creature, and you can remove the negative counters to reanimate cards, and then once you've done that, you've got a 7/7. I'm in love.
And a lot of people are playing this for like modern and also different formats because you could fetch, you could make it bigger, you could also sacrifice things, make it bigger. But honestly, I like it for that idea for Tayam, focusing on that counter strategy. I think it's still pretty strong either way. A lot of people have been actually comparing the art to Shieldred the Apocalypse. Maybe it's like a different version of her. Obviously, because Shieldred's dead, maybe it's like a nightmarish version of her that people kind of dreamt up as. I don't really know the lore. It's just kind of speculating. It's just kind of fun to look at because, in a way, it looks like her face. You got the big, giant like legs on the bottom. I'm just trying to think of things to say with her because obviously it had a lot more. I just think it's more of a modern card, but it's still fun.
He's in love. That's all he had to say. He's in love. No.
Yeah.
Honestly though, I do hate that it's a modern card because now I have to spend $30 on this thing to put
Yeah,
it
it
in my
is
Tayam deck.
expensive.
Yeah, this is like I'm gonna be honest. I just need this for Tayam, and I am going to have to drop $30 on it.
Yeah, and so I that one is a pretty fun one. Again, I think it's more of a modern card. Obviously, for time, it's understandable. But we are going to move on to one that focuses on creature types. There's going to be a whole cycle of this. I'm going to be talking about some later or down the road because we're focusing on black. I'm going to talk about Bloodline Bidding. This is one of the Convoke cards that you focus on a specific creature type with. Choose a creature type, return all creature cards with the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's just a reanimation effect. On the flip side, it has Convoke, so if you have a couple of tokens on the battlefield, it could be potentially cheaper. But I like it for that late stage of the game where you may milled a lot of cards, a lot of creatures died. It's just a cheap reanimation spell, potentially, maybe not, but most likely could be.
I dig it. Just a kindred style reanimation spell. I do like
Yeah.
the option of it having convoke. I do think whenever I'm using this, I probably don't have a board state because they're all in the graveyard. But again, just having that option for convoke, I'm there for it.
Right.
The next one I want to talk about is Twilight Diviner. This is a 3 CMC elf cleric that says when this creature enters, you get to surveil 2. If they entered or were cast from the graveyard, create a token that's a copy of them. This ability only triggers once per turn. So kind of a panharmonicon for your reanimation strategies.
Yeah, I actually really like this for Sauron, putting an elf in your Sauron deck. That kind of seems very polar opposite of what you're doing in Lord of the Rings. But with my Sauron deck, I actually have a reanimator theme, returning all the Nazguls from the graveyard to the battlefield. What's better than one Nazgul, another token copy of it entering the battlefield?
Ooh.
I just think that's just chef's kiss.
Man, dude. My Sauron deck is also a Nazgul deck. It's so broken, right? It's
No,
so
it's stupid.
absurd.
Yeah, I get it.
Um,
It's definitely going to go in there for sure.
yeah, I'm in love with it. I played it twice, and I was like, "Holy, wait a minute!" People wanted to stop being my friends. I've got one more. I have Dawn Hand Dissident. This is a 1 CMC creature of Warlock that says we can tap it to Blight 1 and Surveil. But really, what I want to do is I want to tap it, Blight 2, and exile target card from a graveyard. And then it says during your turn, you may cast creature spells from among cards you own in exile with this creature by removing 3 counters from among other creatures you control, in addition to paying its other costs. So it's kind of a Dothy Voidwalker that you have to work for. And it gives you the ability to put negative counters on your creatures. So it gives you the counters you have to remove to be able to cast these spells from the graveyard. So it kind of is a card that's 1 CMC that enables itself while hating out your opponent's powerful creature cards in their graveyard.
I thought you were going to say it's another Time card, but.
Dude, honestly, the problem with this one in Tayam is Tayam creatures are not historically very big.
That is true.
So
Yeah, you got a good
so
point.
the Blight 2 might just murk someone. But you're right, though. I could see this in Tayam. Tayam's at least got enough power to put some negative counters on it. So maybe.
Right. So next up, after talking about black, we are going to move on to blue, everyone's favorite color for control. And we're not going to be talking about control card right now. I'm going to be talking about mirror form. This one is kind of like high risk, high reward. It's kind of like a do nothing card if you don't really have any permanents on the battlefield. But in the case if you have specific a permanent that you want to copy and you have a lot of permanents on the battlefield, it could just become that permanent. I like the ability of each non-land permanent you control becomes a copy of a target non-aura permanent. Notice the wording right there. So obviously you're focusing on a non-land permanent you control. You could target a lot of tokens. And because you get to make it a copy of a target permanent, you could actually turn those tokens into lands if you want to. I don't know. I mean, there's probably some situations where you want to if you're making like 15 Valakuts and then you just play a mountain. That's one strategy I could think of. Or you could just put a bunch of, I guess, Gaia's Cradle is legendary.
Yeah. Is Valakut legendary?
Oh no, it's not legendary. That's why they
No,
play
that's
four. That's why
cool.
they play four of in modern, and it's just wrecks havoc. But
Hmm.
again, I like this card because it could just turn all your creatures into your best creature or best permanent if you want to make like 15 Smothering Ties, 15 Ristic Studies, or even like 15 like Blightsteel Colossuses. You could do so if you have enough permanents on the battlefield to do so.
No, I definitely like this. Another interesting difference from other similar effects is that it doesn't say until end of turn. So you're going to get to copy whatever you're choosing, and then those tokens or whatever you choose to turn into whatever creature are going to stay like that.
Mm.
And I think that's where the power of this is and how it differs from previous effects we've had in the past.
Yeah, I think this could be actually a really good, like maybe treasure, maybe clue deck kind of, because you're putting a lot of clues, treasures on the battlefield. You just make those into copies of what is that one commander that it kind of reminds me of a commander that turns all your tokens into a specific token.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And Brutaclad. Brutaclad.
Brutaclad. It kind of reminds me of Brutaclad in a specific scenario. Obviously, it's not focusing on tokens, but it makes all your non-land permanents into a copy of a permanent. So that's pretty cool.
No, I love what you just said because it is an instant, and I'm
Oh, it is an
always
instant.
looking
Shoot, I
for.
didn't notice that.
Yeah, it is an instant, and I'm always looking for a Cyberdrive Awakener in my artifact decks. And this kind of is your Cyberdrive Awakener, right? You
Yep.
just choose the biggest creature on the battlefield whenever you have 20 plus treasure tokens and you're ready to kill the table. So yeah, I you just sold me on this card. It's going to be
Yeah.
my new Cyberdrive
No, I think
Awakener.
it's pretty cool. I'm actually getting more sold by the second, even though it is not a May ability per permanent. So if you have like a lot of permanents on the battlefield, they're all going to be made into those specific permanents forever now.
I think you're killing people with it though. Hopefully.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
think that's the goal
definitely
here.
a finisher for sure.
My favorite card from the set, or blue card from the set, is Glenalindra Guardian. I'm going to do disgusting things with this card. It's a 3 CMC creature fairy elf that has flash, flying, and this creature enters with a negative counter on it. But for 2 mana, you can remove a counter from this creature and counter target non-creature spell its controller draws a card. So yes, you kind of do give an opponent card advantage, but also we're just straight up playing permission style here.
Yeah.
In the deck that wants to play this, like your Titus or even your Simic +1/+1 counter
Hmm.
strategies, you're going to be able to stack counters on Glenalindra very, very fast. And then as long as you have 2 mana up, you just get to decide what resolves, which is kind of crazy to me. The
Yeah.
fact that it's not negative counters and it's any counter is what breaks it, I think.
Yeah, and the most annoying part about this is the fact that it's a permanent that will just counter spells constantly as long as you have the mana for it and the counters for it. That is actually really good in situations where you don't really have too much going on, but you want to make sure your opponents don't have much going on either. So you just like, all right, just counter that, keep countering.
Yeah, it's also like protects itself if you're not killing it with a creature,
It's true.
right? If they try to remove it, it's like, yeah, no, you're not actually.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I think yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, again, in those specific kind of counter strategies, I could go for it. Like you mentioned, Titus. I think that's really good.
I agree.
So we are going to move on, and this is another Convoke card. I feel like I'm just talking about Convoke cards today, but Harmonized Crescendo, and this is obviously very specific towards creature types. This focuses on Convoke, choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. So again, I think most situations are not. This is going to be in a token deck, specifically maybe for like Merfolk, where you're putting a lot of Merfolk on the battlefield. You convoke some of them, draw a bunch of cards, but again, if you're drawing like maybe like 4 to 6 of them at a time, that's actually pretty decent with Harmonized Crescendo. Obviously, the ceiling could go as big as you want depending on how much tokens you have, or really any of those creature types you have.
I agree. What I like about it too is it's instant. If this was a
Yeah.
sorcery, I'd hate it. But the fact that it's an instant, you can leave open some of your mana, you can leave open your creatures to just straight up cast it if you have 6 creatures. I do think it's really good when it's good because 6 creatures, you're drawing
Yeah.
6 cards and it's free. I'm here for that for sure.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like 9 times out of 10 going to be free in the deck you play it in, I like it. If you're not playing a Kindred deck that can't reliably
Yeah.
get to 6 creatures on the battlefield, I don't include it. But for your elf decks, for your fairy decks, you get 6+ creatures on the field. I think you play
Yeah.
this. Merfolk even.
Yeah, you could also play it like I'm trying to think of certain ways. So like you could also play it in like specific token decks. Like if you're playing like I don't know a landfall deck and you make a lot of Saprolings with Avenger of Zendikar, you could just name
That's
Saproling and
true.
maybe draw a bunch of cards. Again, I'm trying to take it outside of just choosing a creature type only for a specific creature deck, but it's more limited towards that. I'm just gonna be real.
My next card, Lockmare. I'm excited to put this card also in Titus. I'm just scoping out Titus cards here, guys.
Yeah,
This is a
seriously.
2 CMC creature horse serpent. Kind of crazy. And then it says this creature enters with 3 negative counters on it. We can remove a counter from it to draw a card, and then we can remove 2 counters from this creature, and then you get to put a stun counter on target creature. So once we get a stun counter on a creature in Titus, that stun counter never comes off because we always get to proliferate up on it, which is kind of insane. And also, it's solid card advantage for 2 mana, which 2 mana for a card is a really good rate. It's also a 2 drop that's a 5/4 once you remove all the counters. So I think this card does a lot, if that makes sense.
Right. And the fact that it focuses on any counters is just kind of absurd. I like how
Hmm.
this can be engine for you, but also playing defense for you. Again, tapping those creatures that are potentially swinging at you. Obviously, you have to do it before combat. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to tap that right during combat because they're still going to be attacking. But the fact that you get to tap them before combat is very good, and just proliferating with Titus. Again, I don't know why we keep talking about Titus, but it's still really good. I'm trying to think of other
This
decks that it's
Titus is
good for.
cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I mean, obviously, 1/1 counters decks are going to be good, but kind of not good at the same time because if you give the +1/+1 counters on it, it's going to negate the -1/-1 counters on it. But then it'll just get bigger with the +1/+1 counters.
I think a Simic Seedborn Muse deck wants this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Specifically, that a +1/+1 counter Seedborn Muse deck. Yeah, I'd play this in that.
Oh, yeah, you'd just be drawing cards every single turn, maybe even multiple.
Oh, 100%. It's kind of like a Thrasios in a way.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think no, it's pretty sweet. I like the vibe that this card's giving just because it's card advantage and it's defense. It's kind of giving you both.
Hmm.
Sorry, I don't have another blue one.
Me either.
Oh, we're
I'm good
good.
to
All
go.
right, we're good.
Your two were my other two. So I just had two.
Okay, okay. We kind of combine that.
All right, moving on to green. The first thing I'm going to talk about is obviously Bloom Tender reprint.
Yeah.
Anytime you get a Bloom Tender reprint, buy as many as possible or try to open as many as possible. This is a 2 CMC creature that says for each color among permanents you control, you get to add 1 mana of that color. So all of your 3 CMC decks that have green in it, you just put Bloom Tender in there, and then you've got a mana dork that comes down turn 2 that consistently adds 3 mana to your mana pool. This card wins games. It doesn't win games like Craterhoof Behemoth does, but it wins games by casting Craterhoof Behemoth.
Yeah, especially when a like a mana door can get higher than like a tap for mana more for than its mana cost is going to be a really good rate, especially for 2 mana. I mean, everyone knows how good it is, but I would like to note that it also includes the mechanic Vivid. This is a new mechanic from the set, and they decided to throw it on Bloom Tender. Thought I would mention it. Obviously, everyone knows how good Bloom Tender is, just tapping for a whole bunch of mana. I dig it.
Me too.
So we are going to move on. This one is more of a personal pick just because a lot of people have specific creature type decks, but they might not have some staples that work in there quite well. So I put in Chomping Changeling mainly because it's a
Mm.
Reclamation Sage, but for your specific creature type decks. So when this enters, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment. That's all it's really doing, but the fact that it has Changeling means that you could swing in with Gishath. This could come onto the board along with your other dinosaurs. It's just funny how, like, I love all these arts of the different Changelings where they look like they're in replacement of the other creatures, but they totally don't mix with them because they just look different, but they have the same creature type.
Yeah, it's definitely got the one of these things is not like the other vibes.
Yeah, like
It's
what is it
kind of
called?
great.
Uncanny Valley or something?
Yeah, it's funny. Just looking at them, you're like, yeah, you don't go there, bud, but you're trying,
Yeah.
and you're glad they're trying.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a good fit for any of your like specific creature type decks that need more removal.
I think one of the best cards, if not the best green card we're getting from this set that's not Bloom Tender, is Formidable
Yeah.
Speaker. This is a 3 CMC Elf Druid that says when this creature enters, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then it also has an ability to pay 1 to untap another target permanent. So you get a creature tutor that discards a card and additionally untaps your mana dorks
Yeah,
or
it,
your
it only
lands
needed
that are
that
tapping
first
for more.
ability.
Yeah, it only needed the ETB, and then they gave it the ability to untap your lands, your mana dorks, whatever you need, your One Ring. This card's just going to be insane, and I think it is almost hitting the staple like area immediately. Like it's almost you'd almost put this in every single green deck if you could or care about creatures.
Right, and it's kind of like because it's another champion card, they have like Fairy Mastermind where they put a champion's face on a card. I wish they could just reprint those and put like a different kind of art on there. Me personally, not to hate on the people who won the champions, but this
Oh,
is
is this a
obvious.
dude's face?
I don't know. Gene Emmanuel. That's what it says on the flavor text. He's a world champion of a certain amount of year. I don't read Roman numerals.
Thank you for Formidable Speaker. You've done good. You've done
Yeah.
good, sir.
No, it's a really good card. I mean, the fact that it could go in a reanimator deck because you could just discard a card and get the best card you need. That's a creature and put it into your. I guess it's in your hand, which is really stupid because I thought it would have been on top of your library, but it's your hand. Oh man.
Yeah,
And the
it's
fact
gross.
and the fact that it kind of goes ham with like Bloom Tender, the card we already talked about, just untap a Bloom
Mhm.
Tender, draw tap for more mana. Yeah, not okay.
Exactly. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just grabbing Savala with this guy,
Yeah.
and now Savala taps twice.
And
That's
the stupid part is like the fact that it's a 3 mana with a 2/4 body too. It has a
yeah, it's got
high
a 2 for body.
toughness.
Why not? F it.
Right, because why not? We need a good blocker that'll untap.
Dude, you gotta dodge Orcish Bowmasters, bro. Like if it
That's
you
dodging
can't
it
play it.
a lot.
Yeah, you can't play a card if it doesn't dodge Orcish Bowmasters. There you
Right.
go. Formidable Speaker. We like it.
Yeah, no, it's super good. Just the fact that this is on ETB is just insane. Even a one-time use, obviously very good, but Blink decks are just gonna love this.
I think so too.
So we are going to move on. Obviously, Formidable Speaker is probably one of the better cards of this list. Actually, I would say it's probably one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I
there's
agree.
another card that's a little overhyped that we're going to talk about later. But Formidable
He
Speaker can
doesn't
kind of
like
go in any
no.
decks.
You've got beef with Sculpture. I know you do.
I know, yeah. I mean, I just hate how overhyped it is, but well, we'll get there. So,
We'll get. He's like, we'll get there. Yeah, I like it.
and so I guess I've been mentioning every Convoke card in existence with this set, so I'm going to mention another one, Selfless Safe Right. This one is really good. Obviously, again, it's focusing on a specific creature type. It has flash. Unlike all the other ones, this is a creature, so you can just put it on the battlefield, flicker it maybe, even though it'll probably most likely die with a board wipe. But it's good because it's a heroic intervention for a specific creature type when it ETBs. That's simple enough. Obviously, if you're playing an elf deck, this goes right in. I kind of want to get this because it's only like $1 right now, and with the new Hobbit set, with them focusing on elves probably again, might be a good opportunity, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like it, especially for elf decks. And honestly, I could see this in Merfolk too, just because
Yeah.
Merfolk goes really wide. But green Kindred decks, I like it. I don't know if it's heroic intervention good, but if you want the body in like an elf strategy,
Yeah.
it's definitely good because remember, a lot of these effects are going to trigger your kindred effects or your kindred abilities. So elves and warriors, you're going to get the card advantage, and additionally for all your elves that tap for mana equal to the amount of elves you control, it's also good. But I think outside of elves, and it's pretty neat. I wish it just had the effect to give creatures like I
Yeah.
don't think it needed to be limited to types. They
I
just
think it's
like kind of
because they're
nerfed
trying to
it.
make a whole Convoke style with a specific creature type. I think that's what it
Oh, I
is.
understand. I
But still,
understand. It's
it's
in the
like it's
cycle.
an elf itself. Like, why?
Just
It
give
could
it
have
to just give
honestly,
it.
it could have been a shapeshifter, in my opinion.
Oh, make it a changeling. That would have made
Yeah,
it better.
like
Because then it could be a dinosaur. Yeah, I like
yeah,
it.
or it could be a dragon. It could be any of those
A
things that you want
dinosaur.
it to
Yeah,
be.
whatever.
It'll just be
Yeah,
Ditto on the battlefield.
I agree. Another card that I think is going to go in every single elf deck is Champion of the Perfect. This is a 4 CMC elf warrior that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, behold an elf and exile it. And then it says, whenever you cast a creature spell, you get to draw a card, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. It's also a 6/6 for 4 mana that's an elf. So for all of your elf ball decks, I just think you instantly put this in there.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I mean, the unfortunate side, obviously, is you have to like behold an elf in exile.
Yeah.
It's not an May ability. It's like you have to behold it.
You
Most of
have
these
to, yeah.
behold abilities is like optional, where you may do it and you get an additional effect. This one you just straight up have to, but it has a really good upside when you cast a creature spell, draw a card. That's Beast Whisper, but a little better because obviously it's a 6/6 for 4 mana.
It's a
Yeah,
thick Beast Whisper.
and in some situations, you might see someone like reveal a board wipe. You could just cast this, exile a specific elf you want to keep on the battlefield, and then like just exile it. And then when they blow everything up, you just return it from exile and put it back to your hand. So, I mean, very niche scenario, but there's just some things to think about with this card.
Yeah, you get ETBs again. You get ETBs.
Yeah.
All right, what
So,
do you got up next?
so next up, I have. Oh, shoot. I know this is also yours. All right.
Oh, you're fine. I don't give a shit.
All right, next up I have Spry and Mighty. So this one is actually quite powerful in a lot of different situations. Obviously, a lot of people probably focus on toughness matters, but for 5 mana, you choose 2 creatures you control, you draw X cards, and the chosen creatures get +X/+X and gain trample until on a turn, where X is the difference between the chosen creature's power. So this one is obviously pretty powerful. It's kind of like an overrun effect. It's focusing on the difference between power and toughness. So there's a little bit of a setup you have to do, but I like this for situations where you may want to close out the game and draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, you definitely sold me on this card. Like we were talking about earlier, you were like, yeah, you always have elves, and then if you have a big creature in the command zone, it just kind of makes sense. Choose your elf, choose your Bloom Tender, right? Choose your big commander, and then boom, you get a ton of card advantage, and they get massive. Do you
Yeah,
play this in Gishath?
shoot, I was actually thinking about that, but the fact that like I don't actually have any elves in there, I actually have Kahira as the companion.
Oh,
So
okay, I
like
got you. I got you. I got you.
everything's just big in there.
Is Gishath big enough? And it's also buffs Gishath.
Yeah, it does buff Gishaf, even if the difference is like maybe 2 or 3. Maybe still
Is it worth?
consider.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Ah, but you don't want to draw. You don't want to
Yeah, I
draw
don't
right
really
before
want to
Gishath.
draw. That's the problem. There's a lot of,
Yeah, you're right.
but
Because
this
then you
could be good in
draw
some
and you.
different decks. I don't know.
maybe. Your toughness matters. This goes in there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to put this in
Oh, what this is
my.
really good in? I just thought of this. Marwyn, the one where it taps for mana equal to the power it has.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it power or is it based off the amount of counters on it?
Yeah. It's based off power. It's based off power.
I think that could be pretty nasty. You have an elf, and then if Marwyn's already like a 5/5 difference, and then you make it like that much more powerful, draw that much more cards, and then play much more elves, and then tap for more mana. Oh, I
Yeah,
just thought
that
about
is
that. Okay,
that is
never.
gross.
Jeez.
I'm gonna put it in my Beator deck, my Beator Elf deck.
Oh, Beator elves. You have me
Uh,
interested.
No, no, no. So the 40 power Beator, I built it Elf Ball because I noticed like elves, you can just get 40 toughness on the battlefield really easy.
Yeah,
And then I'm comboing off with Archfiend of Ifnir. Everybody loses half their life total twice.
that's actually pretty funny. Not gonna lie, I dig that.
Yeah, I built a Beator Elf Ball deck, and some people were pissed and some people loved it. And you either loved it or hated that deck. There was
Well,
no in between.
you're definitely subverting expectations because everyone expects like a big toughness matters deck, but no, just elf ball. I mean, Beator is there just for value. I'm assuming just getting card draw,
Yeah,
getting
he's
the
part of
half
the one
life.
shot.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, 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 no. But that this is perfect for that deck. Holy, I just realized. Yeah, no, definitely going in there.
No, yeah, either way,
Sometimes you
really
sell
good.
yourself on something on the spot. No.
No, this is what we do a lot. Like we're just talking to each other, and we're like, "Oh, actually, this works pretty well. Let's try it out." And then, oh shoot,
Yeah, no, Spry and Mighty's getting added to that deck for sure.
that's awesome.
And I've also got Sapling Nursery. I mean, I'm just gonna give this card a shout out just because I think mono green players out there might love this. This is an 8 CMC card, but it has affinity for forest, so one less for each forest you control. Sorry about that. And then it says whenever a land enters the battlefield, you get to create a 3/4 green tree folk creature token with reach. And then for 2 mana, you exile this enchantment, tree folks, and forest you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So kind of protects your board state of tree folks and gives you a board state of tree folks. You kind of want to be in a landfall strategy, maybe like a Tifa deck, like if like the commander just doesn't end up doing the thing. But landfall, mono
Yeah,
green, definitely throw this in there.
and I was actually kind of too hung up on that last ability, focusing on tree folk, but then I realized, oh, if you're putting a lot of lands on the battlefield, you're just making those tree folk tokens anyways. So at
Oh
first, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking like, oh, this only goes in tree folk decks only, but it's much more than that, obviously. And so I think, yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, just the fact that it'll cost less and they make more tree folks on the battlefield for more forests entering the battlefield. I think it's just good in landfall in general.
I agree. I 100% agree. It's also an enchantment, which is just harder to get rid of
Yeah.
in those strategies where people are definitely trying to get rid of all of your creatures.
No, exactly, for sure. And I think in most situations, just putting up bodies on the battlefield just for putting lands on the battlefield is just going to be good enough.
It's free real estate.
Exactly. Free real estate, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, what we got next?
All right.
I'm done with my green. What do you got?
So green, I don't have any more green.
Let's go to red.
Red, all right, red it is.
You want to kick us off with your favorite card of the set?
All right. Let's go with red, and red is actually one of my favorite colors of all of Magic the Gathering. Actually, it's probably my favorite color, not gonna lie. If you look at all my decks in Magic the Gathering, red is actually in every single individual one of them. So that's just something to note about me. But we gotta talk about the elephant in the room, and that's Hexing Squelcher, and this is about $30 right now for a 2/2 bear. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. I think the thing is every time one of these cards gets printing, I guess I'll read it. It's a 2 CMC creature goblin sorcerer that says this spell can't be countered. As ward, pay 2 life, and spells you control can't be countered. Other creatures you control have ward, pay 2 life. I think the thing that happens with cards specifically like Hexing Squelcher is as soon as it gets released, every single CEDH player needs one, right? And so the card price is going to shoot up, but
Yeah.
for casual players, I think it's very pod dependent. Like, are you actually playing in a pod that has a ton of counter magic? You play it. If you're not, you don't. If you're playing Turbo and CEDH, you probably want it. I do think it does break the color pie, though. What do you think? I think it's color pie breaking.
There are some red spells that make your stuff not being able to countered.
That's fair. I think historically it's been like a green thing to put on creatures, though. Yeah,
Yeah, specifically creatures. Like the most recent one was Frenzied
and
Bailoff.
it can't be countered, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
yeah. No, it. I think most people are freaking about that part because it can't be countered itself. Because like with Grand
Yeah,
Abolisher, that's the one thing I could think about closest to this. Like at least in CDH, it could be
yeah, it's
countered. So
basically that.
you counter to that, or you can't counter anything else. So I understand that part, and I mean, I did get a proxy of it just for making a CDH deck eventually. I'm not buying that card because it's like 30 and then like the showcase is like 80. Ugh, no, thank you.
Yeah. No, I do think collectively all the Rockside players just went and got one.
Yeah,
Probably.
and it's so funny like with Hexing Squelcher, a lot of people are focusing against like counter spells, and obviously that's the big drawback with, not, I shouldn't say drawback, it's the big thing that a lot of people are thinking about, but a lot of people also got to consider ward too. So with ward, when you target a specific creature, they have to pay that alternative cost, or that spell fizzles and gets countered. So if you're playing up against that Voja player and you have Hexing Squelcher on the battlefield, you could just say, all right, I'm just gonna Deadly Rollick that Voja, and the trigger will go on the stack, but it'll fizzle because Hexing Squelcher makes it not so that it can't be countered, so you don't pay for that cost.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Get rid of the Tivit players too
Oh
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
Tivit.
time.
So that's
Yeah,
just a
no,
little bit of a tip because it's not just a anti-blue card.
I like it. Very good in high powered casual, or sorry, very good in high powered. For casual, it's going to be super pod dependent. If
Yeah,
y'all are slinging a lot of, counter magic, throw it in there. You're gonna be
right.
glad you did. Lava Leaper. I have mixed feelings on this card. A lot of me thinks it could punish players that you have greedy mana bases, and the other half of me thinks it's trash. It's a 4 CMC creature elemental. It says all creatures have haste, notably all creatures, and then whenever a player taps a basic land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land can produce.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty. I like it for specific niche decks. I giving all creatures haste is not the greatest without a downside, but the fact
Yeah,
that if you're playing a mono red deck and you're playing all mountains, they just tap for more mana. That's pretty decent. I mean, again, if your opponents are playing mono green decks, they're going to get way more use out of this than you will ever will. So,
I
again,
agree.
it's kind of like that. Is it good or not good? Time will tell.
I think maybe a Rakdos deck that's playing aristocrats, but then the problem is it's 4 CMC, so you have to cast it and then also have enough mana to take advantage of it. Maybe you just like reanimate for 1 mana. I think there's a deck that wants it. I don't know what deck that is yet, but it's probably going to be mostly used to punish all of your play groups with their expensive mana bases.
Yeah, and then just play Blood Moon, and then you get all the mana, and they don't.
Oh yeah, yeah, play Blood Moon and don't be apologetic about it. You should be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, your $30 fetch land doesn't do anything. That
Oh
sucks."
no.
Oh no.
All right.
Oh, that's probably not nice.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, the art's pretty wild. It's a deer slash frog. Like, I don't know. That's just pretty weird. Like, it has frog legs and a deer, and then just like with flaming antlers. Pretty wild.
The
Pretty good
art of
stuff.
this set, it's wild and I love it. It feels like magic. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the art's cool, but the card I'm still iffy on. It's definitely requires a specific deck for sure. But we are going to move on to yet again another Convoke card. I got to keep with tradition here.
I
So
like it.
Collective Inferno is actually one I might be considering. Maybe not. It's a redundant double damage effect, but it specifically focuses on creatures and it has Convoke. So is it good? Would I rather just play like another card that does the same effect? Maybe, but this could be fun in specific creature type decks.
I agree. I like it. All of the kindred decks are going to go in the respective deck, but I think you do want that effect, right?
Yeah, the fact that it has Convoke makes this a little bit more appealing compared to other double damage effects. I mean, to give you my personal favorite, it would be Twin Flame Tyrant because Twin Flame Tyrant is a creature that just doubles damage, and I think that's just way better than this. But the fact that you could put this in any creature specific deck and it works for them is okay. I mean, again, Not as good, but still decent enough if you want that type of effect.
It's enough to mention. I
Yeah.
like it. I think a card that's going to be really good as well is Scuzzback Scrounger. This is a 2 CMC mana dork in mono red, and I refuse to elaborate. No, it says at the
Forget about
beginning
it.
of your at the beginning of your first main phase, you may blight one, so you got to put a negative counter on something, and then when you do, you get to generate a treasure token. So for all of your decks that are generating those 1/1 goblins, or your Rakdos style decks, even your Mardu decks that have a lot of creatures that want to die, it's just a solid mana dork that generates one treasure token every turn.
No, I like this. We need more effects like this in red because it's either rituals or rituals in the form of treasure. I mean, with a treasure, you're storing that mana for later uses, so you don't necessarily need to use that treasure right away. You could just save that, go to the next turn, blight again, and you can blight on any creature. When I first read this, I thought, oh, you're just putting -1/-1 counters on just Scuzzback and Scrounger, and you're only getting 2 treasures out of this. But it's more than that. You could put it on a big creature, another creature that may want to die. There's a lot of uses outside of just putting it on itself.
All right, moving on to white. My first one is Adept Water Shaper. This is a 3 CMC Merfolk Cleric that says other tapped creatures you control have indestructible. Again, I love this for your Mardu style of decks, your decks that are trying to attack as much as possible, because historically, these Mardu decks have a lot of very small creatures that have attack triggers that you're trying to get off, and then those small creatures with attack triggers make more small creatures whenever they attack. So the fact that all of your attacking creatures are going to be protected and have indestructible, it's kind of like a Dolem's Gate that's not $20, right?
Yeah. And yeah, again, like you said, like Mardu decks are going to really like this, especially like Kaisar, Legion's Emperor. And yes, it's Kaisar because in the game they call him Kaisar, not Caesar. Again, I got a lot of comments on that. But
I called that guy Caesar through the entire Final Fantasy.
I mean, they kind of go back and forth, but like Kaisar is one of them. But a lot of people were just like, no, it's Caesar. What are you talking about? But it was Kaisar. Like some people called him Kaisar. But anyways, off topic. Really good.
We'll
Good. Really good
fight
with
you in
them.
the comments. I'm on
Yeah.
your side now.
All right. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, this is really good, especially even for like vehicle decks. Like even if you want to like tap your creatures in response and then make one of your creatures indestructible. Obviously, it's also good in station decks as well because again, other tapped creatures you control have indestructible. I feel like there's a lot of cards nowadays that are focusing on tapped creatures. There's like Duskmourn that focus on like what is it, the survivor mechanic that focus on tapped creatures too.
Maybe. I don't know. It's drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I think we'll pull it up on the screen, but I think it's something similar to that where you're focusing on tapped creatures. There's been a lot of support, at least over the years, for this kind of mechanic, and I don't really like playing that kind of style deck because I don't want my creatures being tapped. I'd rather have them. I don't know. I want them to block.
See, this guy likes to build up a board state, stand behind it, and then kill everybody all at once.
That is not true. Take that
That
back.
is, he's like, you take that back. No, but I think this is gonna go in a lot of decks. I think for especially Mardu decks, I think they want this. They're always looking for some form of evasion. It's a 3 CMC 3/4 with indestructible.
Yeah.
That gives all your other things indestructible. Oh wait, it doesn't have indestructible, but all your other things do. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to me.
No, I think it's pretty good. All for 3 mana for like a repeatable effect. Super good. I like a lot of the strategies that this is coming in. Even again, you're swinging with a lot of creatures. Straight up having indestructible is very useful, all especially at this rate of 3 mana.
Yeah, no arguments for me. What you got? What you got next?
All right, so next up, let's talk about, you better guess it, another Convoke card. It's happening.
Oh man, I'm
Winnowing.
excited.
This is a board wipe, though. You have Convoke. For each player, you choose a creature that player controls. Then each player sacrifices all other creatures they control that don't share a creature type with that chosen creature they control. So, this obviously is very, very situational. But the fact that you could just sacrifice the creatures you convoked it out with is okay. I don't think this is one that is going to go in a lot of decks, but it's decent enough where it's kind of like a last showdown kind of style effect where everyone has a specific amount of creatures left and then they kind of just go at each other.
I like that. I don't have it on screen here, but it's okay. We're gonna go to the next card. We like the Convoke card. I'm sorry. I was like trying not to cough off in my own little world, and I
No, you're
just
good.
missed what you said.
No, I get it.
I am
I was
paying
that last
attention,
week.
everybody. The next one I think that's going to be really good is Kin Binding. This is a 5 CMC enchantment that says creatures you control get plus X, where X is the number of creatures that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, you get to create a 1/1 green and white Kithkin creature token. So it's basically like a Cathar's Crusade that's 48 cents. Now, it doesn't do tokens, so it is a less powerful Cathar's Crusade. But for all of you budget players, this is really, really good.
Yeah, no, I like this effect because you don't have to worry about the crazy amount of math that Cathar's Crusade has with like each individual creature or like one by one creatures are coming in and you're putting counters on all different creatures. This one just says straight up, all right, they get plus X for the amount of creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. That is good enough and I dig it. And so I like this kind of effect. It's a little bit less clunky than Cathar's Crusade with a whole
Mhm.
lot less of a headache.
I agree. Dude, it's so funny that there's a card out there that does something as insane as Cathar Crusade does, and it's just not very popular because of how annoying it is.
Yeah. No, I refuse to play Cathar's Crusade, even
A
though
lot of people do.
it's probably the most optimal way of playing the deck, but I
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah, dude, one token per creature entering. It's so broken, and yet everybody's like, nah, that card's bad.
Yeah.
It's, you know what it is? It's the night and day mechanic, but a card.
Yeah. No, but it's straight up. And honestly, that's what's kind of funny about this whole set is like it really feels like it could have applied night and day, but it just didn't.
That mechanic needs to die.
No,
It
it
needs to
just needs
die
to
and
die.
stay dead.
Nah, seriously, I agree.
I've got another one. I've got Kinseer Sentry. This is a 2 CMC Kithkin soldier that has first strike and lifelink. And then whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, where X is the number of attacking creatures you control. So essentially, you just get to cheat creatures into play equal to your board state.
This is like way better than what you call like Meek Attack. Like Meek Attack cheats things on the battlefield for like 2 mana. This one is more creature reliant, and then you just put it on the
Mhm.
battlefield. They don't get sacrificed. I like this one, especially for go wide decks. And I feel like in most situations, if you are playing a go wide deck, you're not really relying on high CMC creatures in order to cheat something in.
I agree. There's a very real scenario where you're attacking with 3 creatures to put a 3 CMC creature into play.
Well, I mean, there's also a situation where you could just catch people off guard, where you're just attacking with 8 creatures and then just slam a Craterhoof Behemoth on the battlefield.
Oh, dude, that's true. Dude, blight steal someone with this? That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
Or even if you're playing white, you could play the what's it called, the white
Oh,
Craterhoof.
Cavalier.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Something
remember the name.
Cavalier. Is it
Moonshaker
Cavalier?
Cavalry.
Ah, Cavalry. Yeah, there's a C in there. I was close.
Yeah,
No, just
that's there. You're
no.
good.
Really good with Adept Water Shaper, notably because this is a 2/2. It does have
Mhm.
first strike, but let's be honest, it's a 2/2.
Yeah.
So I would kind of urge you guys to play this in a counters deck or something that's going to not care or protect the creature, right?
Hmm. No, I absolutely agree. It's a good card. I like it a lot. So next up, we are going to move on to Morning Tide's Light, and a lot of people were kind of crapping on this because it's a bad Teferi's Protection. So a lot of people were comparing Morning Tide Light to Teferi's Protection, and you just need to get that out of your mind right away because it's a different kind of effect. Obviously similar, kind of in the crackback, but what it does, exile any number of target creatures at the beginning of the next end step. Return those creatures to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control, and until your next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Exile Morning Tide's Light. So this is obviously not really as good because it's a sorcery speed card. I completely understand that, but for matters of playing an ETB deck, also if you want to swing in with a lot of creatures, you could exile any number of them on the battlefield, including your opponents, and don't exile any of your own creatures. Swing at your opponents for this is basically giving all your creatures unblockable, let's just be real. And then you don't get the crackback at the end.
I dig it. I do think anytime you compare something to a very powerful card, it's probably also a very powerful card. So
Yeah.
even though it's like a worse Teferi's protection, if people want to say that. It also does have more flexibility, like you said. So I do think there is some merit to just wanting to play something different because Teferi's protection is the Crater Hoof of white cards, right? Nobody plays Crater Hoof anymore. That's one with it 5 times because it gets really, really stale. And I think that's the same with Teferi's protection.
Yeah, I will say I'm very excited to play this card because I'm gonna put it in Gishath and try it out. I'm excited to play against token decks like Scoot Swarm because
Yeah, no,
token decks they don't get their tokens back out on the battlefield. They get
no.
exiled forever. So all those millions of Scoot Swarms you make all just get exiled and you can't put them on the battlefield again unless you have like the original Scoot Swarm.
Yeah, no, Skewed Swarm players deserve that too. They
Yeah,
definitely do.
absolutely. And plus, exiling all the creatures on the battlefield, swinging with Gishath, you get a bunch of dinosaurs for free. Again, I like this card. A lot of people are not on high on it. I actually really like it a lot. It could help you win the game. And if you don't win the game, you just don't get the crack back after.
I agree. I got one more white card. It's Reese the Evermore. Now, this one's super niche. I'm going to warn you guys. But it's a 2 CMC legendary creature, a warrior that has flash, and whenever Reese enters the battlefield, another creature you control gains persist, meaning it comes back with a negative counter on it. And then for one white, you can remove any number of counters from target creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. So this is going to be really good at protecting a creature, right? Someone goes to remove a creature, you flash this in, you give it persist. But honestly, ETB decks, I think, are going to love this. The fact that you can blink an ETB creature to get rid of the negative counter is really strong, and also Reese can get rid of it. So any deck that's sacrificing creatures to have them re-enter the battlefield for value, I think this could be really cool. And yeah, I'm excited to try it out.
I actually don't think you want to be targeting the other creature for the ETB for like a blink effect. You want to keep blinking Reese over and over again so that like if somebody removes it, you just blink it, it comes back over and over again. I don't know. I mean, I think both cases are going to be really good.
I like it's just yeah flexible in those die and ETB triggers decks. Just had to mention it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
let's move on to those colorless cards. We got some colorless artifacts, and then we're going to talk about some multicolor cards. But
Yep.
Mirror Crown. This is a very interesting equipment. It's going to be one of those Timmy cards, I think, but I like Timmy
Yeah.
cards. It's a 4 CMC artifact equipment that says as long as this equipment is attached to a creature for the first time, you would create one or more tokens each turn. You may instead create a token that's a copy of that creature. Basically, put this on Avenger of Zendikar, create a token, you get a token copy of Avenger of Zendikar.
Yeah, that's just straight up nasty. It's basically like a Mystic Reflection, but it's an equipment that you could attach to a creature, and when you're making those tokens, you could just turn it into those creatures. Really good. I like it for that fact that it's just a constant Mystic Reflection on the battlefield.
I agree. I also think you probably put this in a deck that cares about specifically creating tokens on opponents' turns
Mm.
because the way I think about I'm like I want maximum value. The maximum value is getting 4 tokens of something every rotation. So like a coma deck I could see it even like your
Yeah.
ooh dude putting this on an illustrious wanderglyph would be crazy.
Oh shoot, yeah, that would be
Cuz
really
cuz like
insane.
yeah, because you'd get an illustrious wanderglyph token on every single. Oh, dude, that's
Or even Tender Shoot
crazy.
Dryad, like those two cards are basically the same thing. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, dude. If you're playing Tendershoot Dryad and a Lustrous Wanderglyph in a deck, put this in there. That's got to be
Yeah,
fun.
that's this is gonna be probably good in like what is it? The Galadriel
Yeah,
Light of
dude.
Valinor?
Yeah,
That's
Gladriel's
pretty
gonna
insane
love
there.
this card,
Yeah, I'm actually
dude.
been tempted to build Galadriel for a while because it lets me play Coma without making me feel bad for playing Coma.
I want to be very clear. You still feel very bad. Like
Oh
as
no.
someone who's built
Yeah.
that deck and put Coma in it, it still feels terrible.
I just want to play Coma, dude. I mean, the thing is, like, I love that creature so much, but like playing it in the command zone, everyone is just like, please don't.
I'm the same way with Corvold. Corvold's in so much of the 99 just because it's my favorite commander and no one will let me play it. But they have a right not to let me. Corvold's
Yeah.
nasty.
But yeah, this card, Mirror Form, really good. I really like it. Obviously, there is some hoops you have to jump through. You have to cast it, you have to have another creature on the battlefield, and you have to equip it to that creature too, and make the token, which makes me like it a little bit more because it's kind of like you have to work for it more instead of just like saying, all right, play this card and then win the game.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to put this in Galadriel now. Dude, what's up with his fingers though? I keep looking at him.
I don't know, man.
Maybe
It's just a
maybe they're
weird
looking at
card.
me, bro.
It's just a weird
I don't
card.
know.
All right, so one colorless card I have, which is probably just going to go in every creature type deck. Again, I feel like I've been talking about a lot of creature type specific cards where you choose a creature type like all the Convoke cards. But Chronicle of Victory, even though it's 6 mana, you are getting a lot out of it because it's an anthem. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2 and have first strike and trample. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, you draw a card. So it's like Banner of Kinship, but a lot better because it has that buff for all your creatures. Giving first strike is probably one of the most useful parts about this because if you're playing a lot of elves, instead of them dying like off a trade off, most likely if you're swinging for like 3 damage and another opponent blocks for 3 damage, it's gonna kill it because of that first strike damage. So I like that first strike ability and trampling over. There's just a lot of things to like about this card.
All right, you know what I want to do with this card?
What's up?
We get first strike and trample. Let's get an effect that gives all our creatures death touch. Because
I never got
now,
it.
yeah, so now you have first strike, death touch, and trample. And the interaction that has is crazy. So trample says you only have to assign lethal damage. With death touch, that becomes one. And with first strike, you instantly kill a creature before it can deal damage
Yeah.
to that creature. So you effectively have unblockable creatures unless they just want to block one damage.
Right. No, exactly. Most people don't want to do that. I remember playing like Throne of Eldraine Standard where I was playing the Questing Beast and also Embercleave together, where Questing Beast has the Death Touch and then Embercleave gives them Trample and Double Strike. Yeah, most people
Gross.
didn't understand that reaction, and that's how
Yeah.
I won most games.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. Ooh, dude, Orin Frostfang. Just shove Orin
Oh
Frostfang
yeah,
in the deck. Yeah,
make it
there,
make it
boom,
a
we
snake
got
deck.
there.
Put Zyrus, make it a Zyrus deck.
Zyrus deck, Orin Frostfang, we got
Wait,
there. I
wait, wait,
think you
wait.
could just include.
Is it cast? Okay, never mind. You cast a spell with chosen type. Never mind. I was gonna say ETB, but then like Zyrus doesn't. Oh
That
man.
would be way too broken, but I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, it would have been
Now,
way too bad.
I normally stay away from the effects that are just like anthem effects.
Yeah.
And then I look at cards like, what is it, the flag? Flag of kinship or whatever. You cast a creature spell, draw a card.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And then I'm like, that's 5 CMC. I don't want that either. But the fact that this is like 6 CMC and it does so much, even trample's like a huge
Yeah.
keyword. I do think I play this where I'm not playing the other two.
Yeah. No, I like this for a lot of different decks too. I mean, for me, it's like a good trade off because what do you have? Banner of Kinship is 5 mana, and then
Yeah,
what is it? Like normal anthems are just like
they're also like oddly 5 mana.
yeah
They're
for
also
specific
super
creature types.
expensive.
Yeah, so like
Yeah,
2 cards in one, and you're also not having to worry putting an extra slot for another card in your deck means that you have more room to put other stuff, even like another ramp piece to get this out maybe like faster because this is 6 mana compared to like Banner Kinship, which is 5 mana. I think that's a lot better rate, especially because you're getting more stuff out of it.
I agree. And I am a greedy deck builder. So if I can like feed 2 slots of that want to do the same thing into a deck, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, that's why I did it. And
I'm
that kind
good
of
to
goes
go.
hand in hand with some of the cards we're going to be talking about in multicolor. There's a lot of these cards that we're going to be talking about that kind of have multiple uses outside of just their one time effect or a couple of times effect. One card I like a lot for a lot of different decks is Wistfulness. This is a little expensive, around $20. That's the one downside, but I love the art. It's like an axolotl salamander with a lot of eggs in its back. I don't know, but it's an elemental. I can't tell. Either way, I like this for the flexibility. Obviously, it's 5 mana, but you could evoke it out for Simic Hybrid both times. And it has the ability of when it enters, if you paid green mana, you exile target artifact or enchantment card an opponent controls. And if you spend 2 blue mana, you draw 2 cards, then discard a card. And obviously, you don't have to worry about like evoking it out if you want both effects. You can just cast it straight up, and you get to draw cards and remove something on the battlefield. This is so flexible.
I really like this card, especially. I mean, you're probably only playing it in Simic, right? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I do like just on its face, you do get the 2 CMC exile target artifact or enchantment. So that's probably 9 times out of 10 what I use this for. But anytime you can just sneak in flexibility into your deck, I
yeah.
love it. I'm also instantly thinking of Karuga decks.
Oh,
Like the
Kruger,
fact that
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that I'm always looking for effects that I can include that are for CMC, but that I can like cheat into play like a little bit cheaper to justify this companion. I think this is going to be a really, really good Karuga card.
And Helga, I guess too, like because Helga
Yeah, put
Kruger
it in
kind of just
Helga.
go
Put
hand
it
in
in
hand.
Helga
Like,
Karuga.
oh, this is so good. Like, I like this one a lot. I mean, the art's really cool. I mean, I've been tempted to put Helga back again, but it's just like every time I think about it, it's just like it's just too
Could
powerful, man.
build Helga again, put Coma in it, and then just be a problem.
Well, I even like with Karuga. I know we talked about this on the podcast before, but like every time like I think I'm gonna downgrade it by putting Krug as the companion, it doesn't affect it much.
No, it's not that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
But that goes in
Helga's
that deck for
gross.
sure. Any Karuga deck, like you mentioned, that is a good mention.
Yeah, I think Wistfulness Karuga. I like it. One of my new pet cards. I haven't put it in a deck yet, but I think this is going to be one of my new pet cards. It's Tristan Colorless Cultivator. This is a 3 CMC legendary creature elf druid. It has death touch, and when this creature enters, transform into Tristan Colorless Cultivator. You get to mill 3 cards. Then if there's an elf card in your graveyard, you get to gain 2 life. We don't care about that. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you can pay 1 black and transform it. And then it turns into Tristan Penitent Kohler. I was like, what?
Yeah, no,
It's a
sometimes.
legendary creature elf warlock that has death touch. And then whenever this creature transforms into Tristan Patient Kohler, you get to mill 3 cards. Then you may exile an elf card from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life. Really, what this is it's 1 mana every single upkeep that mills you 3 cards. That's just a very, very strong engine on a 3 CMC creature. Any mill deck, I think, wants this effect. No, it doesn't, return anything from the graveyard, but it is just basically like another cemetery tampering that is a creature.
So I'm trying to think. Like, obviously, you're milling cards. Then, if there's an elf card, you do have to exile it. I feel like more situations than not, you want to use the backside more, draining your opponents. But I guess there's some situations where you may want to gain life too.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, apart from all the elf synergies, really don't even care about
Oh, you
that. I'm
just
just
want to
trying to.
mill. Okay, you just want to
Yeah,
straight up
dude.
mill.
I- I'm seeing 1 mana mill 3 cards every single turn, and that is all I
I
care
think we
about.
talked about this before and you explained it to me again, but
Yeah, dude, this is cemetery tampering on a creature that's 1 mana. I think it's good. I just love these effects.
yeah, no, yeah,
It
it's pretty good. Yeah, I like the effect of it. It's kind of like also I mean, it's not quite like it. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And never mind, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to scratch that.
You're like, whoop, it is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited to play this in Mill Decks. What do you got next for us?
So next up is actually more of just a really good card in elemental decks. I wanted to focus more on like cards that you could put in every deck, but if I didn't mention this, I think a lot of people would sleep on it because it's an uncommon. Twin Flame Travelers is basically just a roaming throne for your elementals. Put it in your elemental deck.
It's so absurd. I just did the deck tech on, oh my gosh, the mysteries one. I can't
Oh,
even
Massive
remember
Mysteries.
now. Yeah, massive mysteries. And you don't realize how many triggered abilities there are in decks until you start breaking it down.
Mhm.
Massive mysteries triggers on combat. Okay, that's a triggered ability. You get to give myriad to your elemental twice. And then myriad, that's another triggered ability. So now you're triggering your myriad twice. And then if those elementals have ETBs, that's a triggered ability. And that's happening twice. And it makes something like 16 ETB triggers happen. It's absurd. And I will say, for all of your decks that are kindred, right? You're trying to throw Masquid Nexus in the deck and turn every creature into every creature type. This just goes in there. It's
Yeah.
another copy of Roaming Throne.
No, pretty much. And the fact that it also randomly has flying makes it a good blocker against those like dragon decks or like anything like that. I mean, really, most cases you're just going to be using that second ability, but some situations you may want to use it for a blocker. I mean, if anything else, or you might just deck yourself if you use it with like what is it called? A Risen Reef too. I mean, it is a May ability, so you don't have to worry about that. But this with Risen Reef and like with a lot of other cards with elementals, with ETBs and all sorts of leaf triggers, even like with Wistfulness or even like other cards that are new elementals in this set, this just goes crazy.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's not all right, guys.
Yeah.
Another card that is kind of niche, but I think is one of those cards that probably goes in every one of its niches, is Doran Besieged by Time. This says each creature spell you cast with toughness greater than its power costs one less to cast, so it's a cost reducer. And then also, whenever a creature you control attacks or blocks, it gets plus X until end of turn, where X is the difference between its power and toughness, and then it's a 0/5. So for your Felithar deck that has it to where you're already dealing damage with your butt, you attack with Doran and deal 10 damage to someone. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot because it is really just a finisher. Like, especially in those decks that focus on toughness difference between the power. A lot of those are kind of popping up nowadays, especially with like Jaws of Defeat, like focusing on difference between power and toughness. I like this effect because it's just gonna also block too. Not a lot of people think about blocking. It's just about
Oh,
attacking.
yeah.
Because like, oh, you just block with Doran and then it just becomes a 5/10. It's a really good blocker. I mean, not a lot of people are going to be getting through that damage unless you're going through an overrun effect, but most likely not.
Yeah, no, good luck. Another thing that I haven't done in a while is just build a Toughness Matters decks,
Mm.
and it became apparent to me almost immediately. Guys, we do not have to build walls anymore. Like,
Yeah.
holy, there is so many creatures that just have a huge toughness and they don't have that defender ability. So the fact that walls is not even like mandatory anymore to build these toughness style decks means that this is all the more powerful.
So I'm looking at Felothar's ability specifically.
Yeah, he allows you to deal damage with butts.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like with like Felothar, obviously you may want to include just the best walls like Wall of Bossing Say. I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer in that kind of deck. But in other situations, like you said, like if you play Doran as the commander, you don't need defenders at all. You could just
Mm-mm.
swing in with them and then just go ham with a lot of damage. I like it, especially the fact that it's also cost reducing cards too. You don't even really have to focus on toughness matters as much as long as they have one toughness more than their power. They could just be reduced too.
Yeah, Doran's going to be a crazy card, and I think it does just go in those toughness matters decks.
Exactly. But we are going to move on, and I'm going to talk about another elemental incarnation, and I'm actually really excited about this. At first, I wasn't too excited until I was focusing on a very specific deck, and I'm talking about Vibrance. So this one is actually pretty good for the deck I'm talking about specifically. So reading into it for 3 double red or green, this creature when this creature enters, if double red was spent to cast it, this creature deals 3 damage to any target. Or when this creature enters, if double green was spent to cast this, search your library for a land card. That's right, any kind of land. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. You gain 2 life. And it has the evoke for the hybrid cost too. So if you evoke it out for double red, you get that first ability. But if you evoke it out for double green, you get that second ability.
Yeah, no, dude, you sold me on this card. Like, as soon as you were like, hey, man, you get to get any land, I was like, yep, sold. Don't need to say anything else. This card's crazy.
Yeah. And the deck I'm specifically focusing on is the Kama Primal Calamity. I'm actually rebuilding that.
Okay, you're a monster.
No, okay, so hear me out. The reason why this is so good in that deck, I think this is one of the best includes for a while in that deck because it has a great ETB. It'll help you win or get the best land you need right away. You could just search your library for Sanctum of Eternity because that's a 2-card combo with Zakama. So when that enters, you could just have that. Honestly, I would rather just cast that outright because if you go through that combo of Sanctum of Eternity and Zakama, you just basically get infinite mana